My book is called The Billionaire Woman, but it's not about necessarily becoming a billionaire, although it is about becoming a billionaire. But becoming any kind of wealthy self starts with the mind and then ends with the portfolio. So I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they want to start with just the portfolio and give me the money right away. And of course, like I'd love to win the lottery. I'd love to win the whatever the $1 billion. You guys have the Powerball in the States, right? I'm Canadian, so we don't get that kind of money up there necessarily. But everyone wants to rush into that. But there's a much easier path where you don't need to grind and hustle and like hurt yourself to get to this $1 billion status or $1 million status, whatever your desire is. But it all starts in the mind. And it can literally change from one breath to the next if you believe it can. So this book will give you the tools to start to change that and become that version of yourself so everything else becomes really easy. You know what? I think a lot of us have this spark in us. When we're children, we're told that we're special. But then as adults, we lose that. And we don't feel like we're special anymore. And we just kind of go down the path that people say we should go down because it's like, that's what you do. Well, I get married, I have kids, buy a house, like it is what it is, right? But so many people are unhappy, but that spark is still in them, deep in their, like the bowels of their soul. So this story is about me knowing that about myself. And I went through literal hell. And in the book, I talk about dancing with the devil. People get afraid of that darkness. But in order to find your purpose and where you belong and that little spark and blowing that spark up, sometimes you need to go from the light all the way to the depths of the darkness. And it's scary to see that about yourself sometimes. But I think without that, you're not finding who you truly are. So that's why this story matters, is if you have a spark inside of you and you want to start to become that person you truly are, and you want to stop living this mundane life that you're like, what am I doing here? That's why this story needs to be out there. I want them to take away the fact that they truly can be the best version of themselves. And now when I say that, I am not talking about diet and weight loss. I'm not talking about one pillar of your life. I am talking about having a beautiful, passionate relationship with your spouse or yourself, if that's what you desire. I'm talking about great family life, beautiful business or career, tons of money flowing in at all times, but all the while loving yourself. I'm talking about all of those strong pillars in your life, all rising together. Everyone wants to just like, I want to lose weight and then I'll be happy. It's like, you need to do all the things. But then everyone gets overwhelmed with it and they feel like I can't do it. So they just quit and then they go and they binge watch a show and then they're like, I wish my life was like that. And then hence more depression and so on and so forth. Turn the show off and start developing and creating the life that you want to live. And then you'll start to see everything show up for you. The pillars of your life are, it's really like, I can't make up what your pillars should be, but it's really like, for me, mine are money and income, like wealth, health. I suffered and still suffer severe Crohn's disease. I was very ill as a young child. When I was 10 years old, my hair, skin, and nails all fell out. I was very ill. So you can't just become super wealthy and ignore your health, right? So wealth, health, relationships, and then for me, lifestyle. So you make up whatever the pillars are that you want to see in your life. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people who are super, super rich and they're really unhealthy, or they're really unhappy, or they're lonely. They go home at night and they've got no one, or I don't know, what they do. Let's not get into that. But I think that all of those pillars need to be developed at the same time. It's almost like your life map, if you will, right? If you're not developing all of those, health is great. A lot of people who they have fitness business, they have a lot of health and diet and everything's really great. But then at the same time, they have no money in their bank account. So they can't afford naturopathic care or whatever care that they desire, right? So if you're bringing all of those things up at once, that's great. Then you're firing on all cylinders, so to speak. The thing is too with that is maybe it's not work-life balance. Like I love what I do so much. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I work for 4 hours. Then my little guy gets up. I have a 5-year-old and we homeschool him. So our day starts with that. We go to the gym and so on and so forth. My husband and I work a lot. My husband also has his own business. And I think we're constantly talking about work. And I think a lot of people probably look at us and think, oh, you guys are always talking about work and business, but that's what we love. So it doesn't feel like it. My sister-in-law and I were talking about it yesterday about the fact that you're getting paid to do something that you love. So it doesn't really feel like work. And I said, don't ever feel guilty because you're actually doing work. It's such a beautiful feeling to actually get to create and live this life that you want to live and feel good about it. Like so many people, they dread the Monday morning. They have to get to work. It's awful. That's an awful feeling. It's not about work-life balance. I think it's about doing what you love more. And if it's work, great, do more of that. Because I'm a wealth person, I'm all about money. I always talk about big money ideas. People started calling me, first it was Millionaire Claire. And then they're like, well, she's probably already a millionaire. So they started calling me Billionaire Claire. And then Deepika came to me and she said to me, well, you're Billionaire Claire. And I said, yeah. She says, everyone calls you that. And I said, yeah. And she says, so you're the Billionaire Woman. And I said, yeah. And so she said, well, you have to write the book. Everyone should know how to become the Billionaire Woman, which is, as we said, a little bit more of a persona, but it does also equal more money in the bank account, which can also get you to that billionaire level. My book is interesting because it doesn't go necessarily chronologically, but it will touch on all of those points from finding your light all the way to finding your dark. And I will talk about my journey personally, how I danced with the devil. You don't necessarily need to go that far. And I'm not talking about like drugs and drinking. That's not what I mean by that. What I mean is finding the darkness of your personality. For example, I know someone who is a very angry person, but she can channel that in order to, like, it's like taking that or like a ADD. I know someone who has ADD and he makes about $10 million a year. He said to me, I don't know if ADD is a disease, but I channel that and I help it to, I get it to make me hyper focus so that I'm making the kind of money that I want to be making. So my writing journey started off with where I came from, and it really shows all of the things that I went through in a lifetime in order to find who I really am. However, I don't believe that you need to take a lifetime to do that. I think that you can do it in the span of literally from one breath to the next. If you believe you can. If you believe you can, then you will. The belief I want to change with this book is that it really can be easy. I think that we look at all of the billionaires in the world and we think, oh man, well, that's not possible. That's not attainable for me. And I'm not even talking about necessarily billionaires monetarily. I'm talking about people living their best life. Maybe you're watching a show or, we all have this thing where I said this earlier, that we watch these shows, we binge watch, and then we get depressed about our life. I used to do it all the time. I used to watch a fashion stylist and I'd be like, oh man, I wish how can my life be more like that? I don't think that things need to be as hard as the world wants us to believe that they are. I, within a year, stepped out of a very different version of myself into this version of myself. So the belief I need people to understand is that really you can have everything that you envision, but go bigger. Because whatever you're thinking, I'm telling you right now, it's not big enough. I used to think, oh, I would love to be able to work from home. But now I get to work from home. I only fly first class. I'm on my way to buying my own jet. I bring my son everywhere. So my belief is it really can be easy and you really, really can have everything that you want as long as you find the people that will help you get there. You can try to do it on your own. I couldn't. I needed some guides along the way and they really helped me. That is also why I've positioned myself to be able to help people because I know it can be done. You really can be a billionaire if that's your true desire. You really can fly private or you really can own a place down south and up. You can have everything you want. It's really easy as long as you allow it to be easy. It's such a beautiful thing. I think it can be billionaire woman or man. I don't want to, be gender specific necessarily, but obviously I'm a woman. So we went with the billionaire woman, but the billionaire woman is you, but not as you sit there today. The billionaire woman is, and I'm not going to tell you what my version of the billionaire woman is, because it doesn't matter, because that's not your journey. The billionaire woman is you in the grandest version of yourself. How do you picture yourself? How does she dress? What does she sound like? How does she address people? Is she having fun? Is she grumpy? What is she eating? Does she train every day? What does she do for work? You start to develop this character, and sometimes you'll even take it from a movie. That's fine. Borrow from wherever. You are the billionaire woman. So in the future, your billionaire self is looking at you right now, and she's thinking, thank you for doing this. You have no idea what you've done. Keep going forward, but don't ever stop. The billionaire woman is you. Just start stepping into it. She's right there.